Jesus Christ, you people suck. Wow. Wolverine wanted to be in it.
Back in the days when we played video games, it was hardcore for the nerdy and lazy. Now things have changed and all our video games are also for the casual and lady.
But that's okay, you know the score. We told you a million times before. Playing consoles, not just games, is in the past. And every week you listen to the best damn internet radio crew. It's the N4G podcast. It's the N4G podcast.
Alright, it's time! Another week, N4G Radio. This is episode 676 for November 15th, 2021. On the show this week, it's just me and Anthony. What's up, Anthony?
Yep. No, I'm still sick.
Also, the release of this podcast is exactly, to the day, 20 years since the original Xbox came out.
I knew like one person that had one.
How old were you when that thing came out?
20 years? I would have been 9, I guess. No. It would have been more about... Yeah, it would have been 9, I guess.
9-year-old Anthony when the Xbox... And here I am. My memories of the original Xbox was I was working at EB Games, and I remember getting the kiosk for the Xbox. And we grew up Nintendo, and PlayStation was relatively new. And here's this big green fucking thing, and we plugged it in and booted up Halo in the store, because we set it up like off hours, and booted up Halo, and we're just like, holy shit.
I think the first time I saw an Xbox would have been 12, 13.
Oh wow! So you didn't see it like at launch, like it was almost dead by the time you saw it.
It was years before I saw someone that knew someone that owned an Xbox.
Yeah, like even back then, I was kind of in the mix of everything. So I remember, working at EB Games, and we got the GameCubes and the Xboxes, and like they were all stored in the back room. And I'm just like, God, this Xbox is so fucking big. And it's crazy.
I remember looking at the controller. Like, I was like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, this is such a weird controller. Like, even years down the line, it was still not a normal controller. Because, like, I used GameCube. I'd had a GameCube at that point. And it just was like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, what are these white and black buttons, which are still the dumbest.
Yeah, and it had
thing.
2 fat memory card slots in the controller.
Yep. Yeah, that's a very Dreamcast design. I mean, like, that controller clearly was this step forward from a Dreamcast controller.
Yep. I think the only thing about that controller that I was like, wow, this is incredible, were the triggers. Like, the fact that we hadn't had triggers that kind of, like, had levels and, like...
Go back to the PS2 controller.
Oh, God, it's awful.
Ugh.
It's awful. I still can't stand the thumbsticks on the DualShock because, like, the rounded...
The bumps, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like those. Yeah. But yeah, like, having actual... like, the Dreamcast had them, but they felt cheap. But on the Xbox controller, they felt real nice.
Yeah, like, the Dreamcast controller, as much as I love the Sega Saturn and I love that stupid 3D controller, they're literally the same triggers.
Yeah.
And, like, those triggers, like, they're not really triggers. They're just buttons that feel different.
Yeah. And it's just... outside of that, though, that controller was terrible. Can you... Like, the reason that I bought an Xbox at launch was because Dead or Alive went exclusive to Xbox. And I was a huge fan of that series. Back in the day, I'd imported the Dreamcast version. Like, I played the shit out of it on PS2. And they're like, well, the third one's only on Xbox. I'm like, well, I guess I gotta get an Xbox. And playing Dead or Alive with that fucking Duke controller, it was rough. But yeah, 20 years later, here we sit. And probably either a little bit after you listen to this, or, you'll be listening to this after. They're having their little stream, which we'll talk about later in the show, of what we think is going to happen, maybe. I don't know. Lots of shit's been floating around on the internet.
Okay, so here's the sad part of how I know that it was 3 years later. Because I was still in grade school when I saw someone. The neighbors behind us invited us as a family over, and that's the first time I saw an Xbox. And this would have been before the 360 launch, right? Because
the Xbox was probably the shortest lifespan. It was only 5 years.
But think about what I've seen up until this point. Like would I've had the GameCube? No,
yeah,
I
the
wouldn't have had a
GameCube came out the week
I've
before.
played a GameCube, but I hadn't owned one. I had a PS2, and like at this point, tube televisions were still mostly the thing.
Yeah.
Right? You'd have projection televisions were kind of the other main one. So we went over to the neighbor's house. Here's this thing that looks, and let's be honest, it's true, looks 1,000 times better than the PS2. Like, it looked like the future.
Yeah.
I remember the kids of the family were playing. They had some Shrek game, and they also were playing the Clone Wars game that came with like the Xbox at one point.
Oh yeah, the dual pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's this extremely crisp image, and like I'm still playing a PS2 on a projection television, and I'm playing PS2 on this maybe 19-inch, maybe no, not even at that point, tube television. It's like it's in the time frame, like this console to me doesn't feel like it's 20 years old because I didn't know anyone that had one. They had GameCubes and they had PS2s, but I can tell because this would have been the year after this I moved. So I switched schools. And still no one I knew had one when I switched schools.
Yeah.
Like, that's how rare they were, kind of. And, like, not to bring up September 11th, but I know where I was then. So I don't have to, like, think about it too hard. I was still in, like, my hometown. And then we moved 2 hours away. So it's just weird to think that this is 20 years old, because even then, like, really, yeah, Xbox was important, but, like, when the 360 launched, that was the future. That was kind of when Xbox became Xbox.
Yeah, 100%. Like, the first Xbox was very much me and my, friends that had everything had an Xbox, and we played, Xbox Live, Halo 2, and Ghost Recon, Unreal Tournament, stuff like that. But outside of that, like, you working in a video game store, when people would come in, nobody wanted to buy that thing.
Was it more expensive than a PS2?
By the time it came out, I think the PS2 was a little cheaper.
And
yeah, because I remember
everybody knew the PS2 played DVDs.
Yeah, and that was the thing about Xbox. Like, people were like, "Well, does the Xbox play DVDs?" I'm like, "Well, it does, but you have to spend, $30 because you had to buy that dongle remote."
Oh, right.
Yeah. Which took up one of the controller ports on the front, so you had to plug it into like controller port 4 before you could actually play DVDs, which was such a weird thing. And I know why they did it. They did it to get around like the licensing in the box, so they didn't have to pay the licensing fee for the DVDs out of box, so the remote covered the licensing fee. So I get it, but it's still like you're trying to sell that to somebody, and they're like, so it doesn't just play DVDs like a PS2, and you're like, well, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, that would hurt it.
Yeah, it did, and not having Grand Theft Auto was probably the thing that killed it mostly.
You know what? I'm gonna do a segue, and I'm gonna call it out. The best version of those original Grand Theft Auto games, outside of your PC originals, is the Xbox version when it eventually came out.
Yeah, the silver double pack. I remember that thing coming out.
Well, it was not a double pack eventually.
But when it launched, it was a double pack.
Right. Yes. because they went in and actually did modeling work on like hands, and they did an actual remaster. Now, Ken, tell me about the new remasters.
The new remasters, which are they're kind of like you get shit in one hand and you get gold in the other, and you kind of got to deal with them. So I'll talk the positive first. So obviously it's nice to have like a full 16:9 image, like it's the upscale, like the world is clean, it looks good. Controlling a Grand Theft Auto game that doesn't feel like a dumpster fire is awesome. Like being able to move the camera and move your character, like the controls for the cars feels good. And then you kind of unsurface the problems of this port. For example, the fact that they're so fucking dark and the contrast slider is broken. I don't know if you've seen this.
No, I've seen the rain.
So there's a contrast and a brightness slider, and if you boot up these games, I'm playing on Series X just for reference. You boot them up, they go into the Dolby Vision mode, and it is like so dark that you can't see anything. So I'm like sliding the brightness and the contrast all the way to the right, and it's doing nothing. In fact, it made it darker. So what has happened is the brightness slider literally does nothing. Like sliding it left and right does nothing. The contrast slider is broken. It's backwards. So you have to slide it all the way to the left.
That's...
Yeah. Like it took me forever to figure out that you need to slide it to the left.
This is not starting with the positives, Ken.
I gave you the positives. The fact that it controls good and it's...
All right, well... So
that's all I got.
Here's where I knew it went bad. Somebody posted on Reddit just a single thing, and I know it sounds petty, but this is my logic. It was the Guitar Center sign. Whatever they call it. Because it's not actually Guitar Center. And it says Guitar Wank Booths available. Or something like that. And it's making a joke at the guys that go into music stores and just play guitar over the amps there like an asshole, like we all want to hear them play. It's a funny joke. It's exactly what I'd expect from Grand Theft Auto. Now, in the new version, it says Guitar Hank. The joke is gone. It doesn't even make sense. Like, no one could look at that and go, yeah, that makes sense. Like,
do you know why?
Say, well, it's a single... Sorry?
Do you know why it says that?
I have a suspicion.
I can explain to you why
there
are so many misspellings. Yeah.
So, I don't know how anybody looks at that and goes, that makes sense, let's ship that. Let's put that in. And you might say, but that's just a texture. And my argument is, I could make a texture for a video game. That's an easy thing to do. It's essentially just a 2D image, right? Because It's not like this is going wrapped around like something. This is Grand Theft Auto 3, San Andreas, and Vice City. They're very basic geometry. Now, on the best side of things, someone didn't understand the joke, saw it wrong, and made the texture by hand, and it got overlooked. That's the best side of things. The worst side of things, and what I really think happened, is they just used an AI to fucking upscale everything, and that's exactly how they made this game. They did it for the least amount of man effort.
Yep, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep. So the way that everything scales, like there's a bus that's labeled like Top Fun, and it's making fun of Top Gun, and now it says Top Bun because the F was kind of stylized. Yeah. Like those are all over the game, and it's an AI algorithm that goes through and upscales both of the games. And instead of playing through them all and realizing where they're broken, or maybe they did play through them and they're like, well, if we want to go in and fix this, this is an extra, 6 weeks of work or something. And it's like, we'll just put them out because people will buy them.
So, somebody on Twitter said to me, like, well, at this point, you've had how many years to buy them? 20 at Grand Theft Auto 3. And for sure, yeah. You've had 20 years to buy them. They just delisted them this year. You can't blame anybody but yourself. Except This is my problem with people in the video game space right now when it comes down to like the difficulty talk and stuff. There are always new people entering this hobby. This hobby has never been more popular.
Yep.
Grand Theft Auto has been talked about very highly, especially these. I'm going to say these 3 games, even though GTA 3 is kind of off the topic now because it's so old. But these are games that are talked about as something very important. As much as you and I don't like Shenmue, it is important that it's available for people to make their own decisions about.
Sure, I never judge anybody for buying it. I just think it's a garbage game. I joke
Me
about
too,
it, but I'm glad that it's. I want every when you give me shit about Eternal Champions, it's like, well, I get why you're giving me shit, but I would love to be able to just buy. I want games available. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, I've never had an issue with Eternal Champions being available. When you go, I want a remake. I go, no, you don't.
Yeah, I still do.
But anyways, the problem here is not the new version sucks. The problem is the new version sucks and you can't get the original. This is the George Lucas school of thinking. Instead of having the common sense to go, people are going to buy. They already know that people are going to buy this because they like GTA. That was already established as that's basically who bought this collection first and foremost, and the people that are complaining now. But what they don't understand is that group is going to be there regardless, and some people may enjoy the new version, but there's always going to be the purists, and the purists also have some influence over new players.
Yeah, if you have a negativity kind of at the top level of people who are very, vocal, it's going to deter people who are kind of thinking about it if they see that discourse.
But I also think that, like, even if the negativity was... Look at Star Wars. Like, yeah, the new versions aren't great, right? That's not the one that you or I would pick.
No.
Because I even was, like, the last generation to get the unfucked with versions. Like, I have a VHS set sitting right over there. I can see it from where I'm sitting. And it's the unmessed with version. And I will tell you that the new versions are kind of crap. But there's people that are going to enjoy it, and that's fine. I just don't understand why those two things can't exist, although I can tell you it's George Lucas. He definitely signed a contract with Disney that says they can never release the original versions. But it's just like, people would buy both versions. Like,
removing
it's not one or the other.
one's
Don't
not going to
race
change
over.
it. Yeah.
Like, so with this GTA trilogy, they delisted all the old versions. I'm gonna tell you right now, the PS2 to PS2 classics on PS4 versions were pretty decent.
Yeah, I have those versions too.
And like, now those versions are unavailable. That's weird.
Those versions were removed? I thought they just removed the PC.
I thought they removed those versions as well. Hold on.
I was gonna say, go to the store and see if you can buy them still. Because I'm kind of curious, because I thought it was
PC
just
versions are gone, and that doesn't make any sense to me either.
Well, not to skip too far ahead into news, but the new versions are gone too.
Yeah, well, yeah. But it's just like this... What an unnecessary...
Yeah,
it's gone. Yeah, it's not there.
Oh, wow. That shocks me.
Yeah, you have the definitive edition. Yeah, I'm going to say, like, they... so let's just... Auto Trilogy. I spelt that wrong. Yep.
The triology.
Yeah, well, no, I wrote it without a T for some reason. Yeah, we're into Auto Chess.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say they removed all versions of these fucking games, and it's just like, why would you do that? And fuck you is the reason why.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's just like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I can't figure it out. It's such a dumb move.
I don't know. I hope those versions that are out there now get fixed, because there's a lot of positive in like what's there, like the controls, the fact that it's running in high resolution, but you've got to fix some of this other stuff. You have to.
Well, you say that, but let me just pull up that message that I sent you from the guy that runs this.
Oh, I understand
No,
that, but
no.
here's the thing. Rockstar is kind of floating that, and the last thing they want is the discourse. Like, fixing these games is an easy PR win and a relaunch and another huge boon in sales. So
Yeah,
I can see Rockstar forcing their hand on this, and if they have to, get somebody else to do it, because I got news for you. Rockstar cares more about their money than they do the shitheads they had do the port for this game.
yeah. You say that, but like, I didn't realize these are the same guys that did the mobile port, the port that ended up erasing the 360 arcade version. It's just they've changed their name recently.
Interesting.
Yeah,
These guys must
so
be really cheap.
I have no idea. So, for anybody that doesn't know, they released San Andreas on Live Arcade, but eventually, they changed that version over to the mobile port that was just upscaled. And if you find a copy of GTA San Andreas with a 360 banner on it in a store, either in the full 360 case or an Xbox One case, because I believe they did it with both, that is the mobile port for 360.
Yeah,
And
it's not the
it is
original.
not as good as the original version.
Yeah.
Now, for a mobile port, I kind of go, yeah, but they got it to run. Like, the time frame of when they got GTA 3 onto phones and stuff, it's impressive. And by the way, that version of GTA 3 is better than the version in this trilogy. But, like, they were like, this is more like an impressive feat that you got this to work. We're past that point now. This is not... Like, there was no feat of getting GTA trilogy to run on PS5 and Xbox One. And there shouldn't have been one with Switch either, but boy, apparently that version's just garbage.
Yeah, the Switch version apparently struggles to hit 20 frames per second at times.
Like, it's an impressive fuck up. Like, I'm really impressed they fucked up that bad.
I can tell you that once the Digital Foundry video comes out, Rockstar will probably be on the telephone.
They should be on the telephone now.
They should
Can I
be,
just
but
read-
that Digital Foundry video is going to be huge, and you know that.
Can I read the tweet from the, as he puts it, the final boss of Grove Street Games? It's so fun to see players out there really enjoying what we put together for them. I'm honestly enjoying this unparalleled level of scrutiny on our studio. Today we are celebrating our monumental project launch while we work on updates. Smiley face, wow, thanks for the passive-aggressive tweet, asshole. Maybe you should have just done your job better. I'm not saying death threats are okay, because if that's the case, those people can fuck right off, but the people that are telling you did a bad job are not wrong. You did a bad job.
Yeah.
This guy would go to Wendy's and probably yell at the fucking person that fucked up his burger because they didn't put cheese on it, but then he'll be like, oh, I don't understand. The people are just scrutinizing our job. No, you're held to the same fucking standards as the Wendy's employee, bud. You fucked it up. You fucked up the thing that it should have just been done, because the actual fucking blueprint of it was done for you.
You fucked up the
I have
burger.
I have more respect for a studio that does something brand new and fucks it up, because at least they were trying to make their own thing. This game was already done, and you fucked it up.
Well, you cut corners and it shows. Alright. That's Grand Theft Auto. Anything else you got going on video game?
Well, I didn't play. I watched my father play it. He's like, this game's not very good. I'm like, I love GTA 3. I'm not going to tell you it's the best game ever, but like, I don't know why you bought this.
Well, people bought it because they didn't know. That's why. And
apparently.
Getting that trilogy remastered, all 3 games, that's a pretty good deal if they were, competent.
Yeah, just give me 1 second to drink something to clear my throat.
Let me clear my throat. Video games.
Video games.
They're pretty cool.
I'll start with the kind of like less important stuff. For some reason, I booted up Wario Land 2 on my 3DS last night.
Why not? You know?
It's a good game.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've never played the Game Boy Color version. I have the original Game Boy version. So it was weird to see stuff in color. More Animal Crossing. Really irritated that they didn't be like, hey, so when the DLC comes out, make sure your island's at 3 stars, because, like, I'm trying to do that, and, like, everybody's like, why don't you add another fence? I'm like, I added fences!
That's so Nintendo.
I had to cough there. Guardians of the Galaxy is really good.
Yeah, I told you guys it was good.
I think it's my favorite version of those characters.
Yeah, that story is really good, and it just gets better the more you play it. It really does.
Rocket and Groot are pretty much the same from the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, their characters are kind of in stone, but I really prefer this version of Gamora and Drax.
Well, wait till you get to the stuff with Peter later in the game. It gets really good.
People are saying he was kind of a dick to his mom when he was a kid, but I'm like, not really. Like, the mom seems to be brushing off. She doesn't seem to be upset or anything.
Yeah, it's just there's a sequence. It's a sequence I told you about where you can get the credit roll. That is just a huge moment for Peter and his mom, and just like, because I don't know if you've noticed, like, every so often it'll kind of go back to that scene to play more of that scene.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, yeah, like throughout the game, it'll kind of go back to that. So
here's me playing this game. I'm gonna play it, and I just kept taking my time on the first mission. I'm still not done it.
Oh, so you're still on the first planet?
The cluster, yeah.
Yeah, that's literally like the tutorial. Like, there's many more planets.
Yeah, I got Gamora and Drax, and then yesterday I was just busy, so.
Yeah, that game continued to be good to the end. Like, it's really good.
But I love the fact that, like, this is not on Bautista, because Bautista's great as Drax, but they really wrote Drax as just a doof.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it, because he doesn't get emotions. It's like...
He genuinely has some laugh out loud lines in this game, too, like he did in the movies.
He's funny because he's... I don't want to say stoic, but he's just no nonsense.
He's literal.
He's literal, but he's also not literal to, like, get it. He's dumb because he doesn't get things. He's a warrior. This is not what he does. And Bautista could have done that.
Sure.
But it kind of wrote him more as a joke, because that movie needed to be more jokey, I guess, because that's all Marvel movies. And I'm not criticizing them. Everybody's kind of snarky and has, like, quips and stuff, and it works, and that's whatever. But, and Gamora is more of a badass. And I like Zoe Saldana, but, like, I don't know. They clearly put her second to Peter Quill.
Yeah, you get a lot of...
And in this game, she is clearly in charge, even though Peter is technically. You
get a lot more backstory on Drax and Gamora later in the game, and it's really good.
Well, I just like the fact that Gamora was basically, at the beginning, giving shit to Rocket, who's ignoring her, clearly ignoring her, but, like, she's yelling at them from the bridge, waiting for Peter.
Good shit, man.
And Drax is like, she's the betrayer or whatever, and I'm like, oh, that's great.
It's man, the people that wrote that game, which I come to find out that it was actually testers that wrote that game.
And you know what? It makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it feels, in that first mission, there's never a moment really where it, like, lets up and just lets me explore. All right, let's go this way. And then I'm like, walk down the other way. Told you! There was nothing there. and Rocket did say that, but, like, I wasn't going to believe it.
Yeah, look at this guy running off to nowhere. Where are you going, Quill? It's good shit. And it never lets up, and it's always good.
And I already like that Groot is just the pure guy. The purest of pure.
Yeah.
He's saving people. But yeah, like I like the level up systems that they have going. Like the combat feels good. I like watching everybody do their little thing. Man,
That
it's so
game,
weird because it's like this is the same publisher that gave us the Avengers.
yeah. It's right now still sitting in my top 10 of the year for sure. I really, really enjoyed that game.
Oh, I'm playing more today. It's so much fun. Like it's actually fun to play, not just like to listen to. I know that seems like a really weird thing, but I've only really complimented them on their writing.
Yeah, I like the combat system. It is fun. Like the little, like I said, my biggest gripe, and I had this gripe to the end of the game, was activating Peter's power by clicking the left stick is awful, but everything else works.
Yeah. So the other game, did I talk about Inscription last week?
Yes, I think so.
No, I think I just talked about it with you.
Maybe that's it.
Okay,
You can't expect this old man to remember where conversations happen.
that's fair. So Inscription is a unique experience.
I've listened to a spoiler cast about it because I didn't care,
Yeah, that's probably for the best for you.
so I know what it does.
Yeah, I'm not gonna see. So here's the problem, and I guess spoilers for somebody that wants to go in blind. Because there's really no way to talk about it, and I hate to say this, but there's really no way to review it properly without kind of spoiling something. But if I spoil the thing, I ruin the experience, I think.
Yeah, it's
And
one
it
of those
puts me
games that you
in a
should.
weird place as a reviewer. Um, it's kind of I don't
It's
even really have a comparison because I was gonna say it's kind of like how Nier ends and then it starts up again, but that's
it's
not
a
really
very meta
proper
game.
because I can just tell you the endings are fake. Keep playing with
Yeah,
Nier,
it's a very meta. You've kind of got
but
to be in the
there's
experience
a
of it.
meta experience with it. It's yeah, it does its own thing and it does it very well, but it does shift how you play the game to a point where I would say the first portion I played was really strong, and I don't have the same connection with what happens as we go along with it. But for now, I'll just talk about the first section. The first section has been kind of described as an escape room card game. Don't really agree with that. What it is a card game that is played in a single locked room with a character that is cloaked in darkness. You only see his eyes and his hands. And it starts up like a weird old PC game, but you don't get to select new game, you have to continue game. It was very weird. It's a very weird game, and it has this sort of pixelated filter over all the 3D models. But you play this card game, and the card game's really interesting because the idea is that, and I'd almost say it's more like an RPG. It's knowing like what you have in your deck, and you get to keep increasing it as you go along, and using the aspects of it to deal not damage to bring down a number, but to push the scale over towards your enemy. There's a scale in the middle of the table, and as you do damage to the characters, so it's literally just like numbers of like 1, 2, 3. If there's no monster on the field and you do an attack, and your card says 1 attack, 1 tooth gets dropped onto the scale. And so the idea is to push the scale towards them. However, if you do damage over that to do the killing blow, you get the extra teeth as a currency that you can trade, and you go along this sort of map that this other character at the end of the table is drawing for you. And it's so fascinating. But what I think really sells that is that anytime the map is open, you can get up from the table and walk around the room. And there's small puzzles to solve in the room that give you extra cards. Every time you lose, you end up having to play as a new character going through the game. And you can go over and there's a skull on one of the tables, and it's always got a couple of teeth in it to trade to the trapper when you come across him in the map. And it's just this really fascinating thing. You also get items, so sometimes there's a card in a jar, and you can break that jar at any moment to get the card. There's these totems that buff certain types of animals, because that's what you're playing with. It's like cards that signify animals. The squirrel that infinitely doesn't die is because the squirrels are like a free summon, and then you summon sacrificing the squirrels. It's a very weird thing that you have to do, but at the beginning of every turn, you can either draw from your deck or you can draw from your squirrel pile. I know that sounds funny.
Squirrel pile.
The coughing can't stop, but I'm just not gonna mute for all of them. Sorry. But eventually I had a totem that every time I sacrificed the squirrel would jump back into my hand. So I could just keep playing the same squirrel over and over and over again. It's like summoning all these monsters. But yeah, like you always go to the teeth, like there was in the skull, and like once you solve the puzzles, you get extra cards to start off every character with. And when you fight the bosses, the game master at the other end of the table puts on a mask to play the character, and but the most fucked up thing is, so there's other items you can grab that are like standard household items, and you're like, why would that be useful in a card game? There's a set of pliers. You grab the set of pliers, and you pull out one of your own teeth to drop it onto the scale on his side. It's Saw the card game. It was so fucking cool. And it gets worse than that. There's some other stuff that happens, and like some other stuff in the room, and the first portion of this game is so fucking crazy strong. And I thought I'd hit the end, and I didn't. And I was like, oh, this game's fucking weird. I am extremely impressed with what this game does, and the fact that for the most part, even though I'm saying stuff right now that tells you there's more, even the ending segment of the first part is crazy, and I'm not going to spoil that. But it's just,
it's impossible. You can't.
But what I'm saying is, like, the fact that there's more to it, and really it hasn't been spoiled publicly, is impressive to me.
Yeah.
It
is also only on PC, so I think that's a big part of.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. I don't.
Like, Frog Fraction stayed hidden for a very long time because it was
people
PC.
Still don't talk about the sequel.
Yeah, because it's PC only. But something like Fez kind of got out there quick. Same with like The Witness and some other games that have a similar, like, oh, when you realize what this actually is, you're like, oh shit, you know.
But I think Undertale, which I think is probably the best description, like the best kind of. I think Undertale got spoiled pretty quickly before it even hit consoles of what that game does.
It's possible that it got spoiled before then, but I'm going to be real honest with you, like, there's still some things that I don't know about that game. So, you know, whereas Fez, I knew exactly what that was probably about, I'd say less than a month after it came out.
Am I missing something with Fez then?
Just how...
I know there's a bunch of endgame stuff and like...
Well, it's more like how the puzzles are solved.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not just a puzzle platformer in the sense that, like, the puzzles are obvious. like there's things that like are in the environment that you have to kind of pay attention. Kind of like the sound
Right.
puzzle in The Witness.
Fuck the witness.
Yeah, I'm not saying, but you know what I mean. That style.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
And have you finished
it's
Inscription?
nothing. It's nothing. This game, to not scare anybody off, Fez and the Witness are a little more obtuse. This game, there's clearly different ways to play it, and you could totally get to the next part of this. There's no obfuscation of.
No.
But I know what you mean, like that those aspects of it were spoiled by people playing.
Yeah, and this one is not like that. Have you finished Inscription? Like, have you seen?
No, I got to the second portion and I went,
Okay.
I'm not feeling this as much right now.
You need to, from what I've heard,
Oh, I know.
you need to get through it because there's pieces in the ending that are. It's not that you've never seen it before, but it's been a while since somebody's done something like this.
There's a game I'm gonna recommend, and actually, you know what? I'll give them credit. I don't know how to refer to them. I don't know what name they go, but Sterling.
It's Stephanie Sterling. Isn't it?
Sorry,
Stephanie, isn't it?
is that?
I think that's.
I don't know. I have the last time
I think it's Stephanie, but you know
Okay.
who we're referring to? Sterling,
Yes.
the top hat, the glasses. You know.
Yeah, Commander Stephanie
Yeah.
Sterling.
There you go.
Yeah. But still at Jim Sterling on Twitter. Anyways, they recommended Pony Island, and like, I'll just say that was a weird, interesting experience that I think people should play.
It sounds
I
like
think
a
it's only
fanboy
on
simulator.
PC still. But
Sorry.
it does some stuff that I've not seen since, and yeah.
I know what happens at the end of Inscription, and I almost want to talk to you about it when you finish it because there's more that's not in the game.
I know about that.
Do you know?
I know about it because my friend has played it, and he's like,
I have to
Yeah.
ask the weirdest question that'll be asked on a podcast, and I only ask this because I heard it on another podcast. Have you heard of Hitler?
yeah.
I know that's a weird, out of context thing to say, but if you've played Inscription, you probably know what I'm referring to.
Yeah. I'm not there yet, but
Okay.
I know what comes. And all I'm gonna say is this is the.
You might just want
This
to
is
leave
why
it.
it takes so long with me in reviews. This is why I have trust issues. Excuse me. Sorry, I hate that I'm coughing, but I'm talking a lot because there's only two of us.
You gotta quit smoking, man.
The problem and the reason why I end up behind on reviews is because I have trust issues where you're not going to massively fuck me after the portion I played. You know what I mean? So if I only played the first portion of Inscription and didn't know, but then I can't fucking talk about it. So spoilers for Dragon Quest XI. You might say, how does this relate? I couldn't talk about what happens later in that game, and I'm not going to talk about it now because I play Dragon Quest XI. If you like Final Fantasy VI, play Dragon Quest XI. It's not the same game, but it's like the closest follow-up I've had to Final Fantasy VI. Anyways, stuff happens in that game, and I went, okay, well, I've played so many hours of this, I'm behind on my review, and I can't talk about this. I've seen it, I know it's there, so I guess I'm writing a review. And it's like, but there's just this, like, I want to get to the end of it, because, like, if you only play up to certain points of certain games, some games will surprise you, most won't. If you asked me to write a review off of Life is Strange, the original, and I'd only played, like, 3 episodes, or even 4 episodes, I would have been like, yeah, it's an interesting story. But 5 is where that game just goes fucking batshit crazy, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. So it's this weird thing with me where I'm like, I don't necessarily feel compelled to finish a game for review because some games are just super long, right? And there's just not enough time in life
Sure.
to have 14 reviews. But then there's those fuckers that are like, they front load with something and then they fucking just pull the carpet out from underneath you. It's like, god damn it. So I have to finish the Inscription. It'll probably be finished this week. Because it's like, I have to restart in a way because of a choice I made. Yeah. It's a good game. Play it. I can't really do you like card games? Fucking play Inscription. There. Also, Dicey Dungeons is on fucking
Game Pass.
Game Pass. Go play that too if you like card games because it's kind of a card
The
game.
the first Anthony approved Ratalaika game.
Yes.
All right, what else?
No, that's it for me.
All right.
Dude, I sat there and played Inscription for like 2 days straight, only to go, oh god damn it, there's more.
All right. Let me run through the indies. I already talked about Grand Theft Auto, so I don't have to talk about those. I played all 3 of those. Galaxy Shooter. It's another shoot 'em up, vertical shooter. It's kind of run based, so you get like collect coins when you're shooting enemies, and then you use those coins to buy upgrades for your ship to do a new run. So, Whiskey Mafia, Leo's Family. We joked about that game last week. The name of it's literally like a point and click puzzle adventure game, pixel art style. I mean, if you like those, you might like this. A Pretty Odd Bunny is this week's, here are 25 levels. Each one is a solution puzzle platformer. The catch to this one is that you play a deranged bunny, and the objective in each level is to eat a pig. You're a rabbit eating a pig.
Sure.
Airborne Kingdom, I booted up, and it's like a strategy game. I immediately just uninstalled. Not my jam. 890B is like a top-down horror game where you're like walking around this office trying to find clues. I stress to call it a horror game.
I saw that. That kind of interested me.
Yeah, it's okay. It's one of those games when you boot it up, you feel like, wow, you used a lot of default assets. Like it's one of those games. But it's not bad. Alchemist Simulator is literally that. It's a first-person game where you're mixing potions. My Singing Monsters Playground is a party game, a 4-player party game.
I was wondering how they were. I was like, is this just a translation of My Singing Monsters? Which was like, okay, that was a mobile game. I loved the designs and the music, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah, it's just the 4-player, like, here's a mini game, play it with everybody kind of thing.
They're the same people that did the God, give me a second. We talked about it last year. Oh God, I can't remember the name of the game. It was an action game. I know that's not enough.
I was gonna say that doesn't help an action game. What's that?
Foregone.
Oh yeah, that game's good.
Yeah, same studio.
That's weird. This game doesn't feel anything like Foregone.
Yeah, well, this was their bread and butter beforehand.
Oh well, they're back, I guess.
I'm glad they're doing something that isn't just mobile stuff.
Yeah. Path of Giants is a game where you have 3 characters, each one color coded. You point and click on them, move them to a space, and you're solving like button press puzzles. So like you can tell them to climb on top of each other to get to higher areas, things kind of like that. And the objective for every area is to just get each one of them on their correspondingly colored button.
3 Vikings?
I don't know what you are. You look almost like Jawas.
3 Viking style stuff, or?
No, you look like Jawas.
No. Like the gameplay.
No, it's point. I don't understand what you're saying. It's like Viking stuff.
3 Vikings. that
Oh,
is that not what it's called?
no!
Or
It's
Three
literally
Dwarves?
there's a cursor on the screen.
Oh, okay. This is a point and click game. Okay,
Yeah,
never
you
mind.
click the person, you tell them where to move, kind of thing.
Oh,
Yeah, no, it's not Lost Vikings. I would have been excited.
Lost
if it-
Vikings. God damn it, that's what it's called.
That's
sorry.
why it confused me.
There's
I was like,
three
what do
of
you
them.
mean Vikings? What?
Yeah.
Treasures of the Aegean is a Metroidvania. As far as I can tell, there's no combat. It's just like movement
it called?
puzzles. Treasures of Aegean, Aegean. You play this character that's like there's a volcano erupting in the background, and you're like looking through this like ruins of something. I don't know. All I know is it's one of those games where I'm like, I wish you would shut the fuck up because you just won't let me play the game. You just want to talk constantly.
And
When
not in a charming Guardians of the Galaxy way.
No. The game stops, and you have to read
Oh,
text
no.
boxes. Yeah. I'm like, dude, just let me play the game. Like, I want to play the
Apparently-
game.
Apparently, there's a time loop.
Oh god, I didn't get that far, but time loop is just like an excuse not to say the word rogue. Fuck that.
Well, here's the reason why. They're saying it's very similar to Majora's Mask and Minute.
Oh, okay. So basically, yeah. It's a run based. It's a fucking roguelike. Stop making new names for things when it's the same kind of mechanic. I know there are subtle nuances. I know there are differences. Don't jump down my shit. But you're you're starting over. Whether you carry shit with you or not, you're starting over. Same shit. Speaking of starting over, I also played that new Binding of Isaac because they sent it in the codes, and I was like, wow, this is, still fucked up, and I don't like it.
You don't like Binding of Isaac?
I've never liked it. I find
Ugh.
the four-way shooting to be bland. I find the run-like stuff is not my jam, and
It's one of the few games where I'll be like, even if you don't like rogues, I'd be like, yeah, but this one's pretty good.
Yeah, I just don't, and I'm not a fan of the designs of the characters. I think they're morbid. I just don't.
I love it.
I don't like them.
I love it all.
John loves it. Like that dude's put like 5,000 hours.
John is,
in that
yeah,
game.
no, I'm not that level of that because I think he's eclipsed my time of life with how long he's played that fucking game.
He's almost played that as much as I've played Overwatch.
Yeah, it's insane.
I just can't even fathom playing that game now. I played it for 20 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this. I don't like this at all. All right, a couple big games. I'm checking out KOTOR on the Switch.
KOTOR on the Switch, am I right?
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah. They put out a Switch version, which is essentially...
No, but I'm asking, is it just KOTOR on the Switch?
Yeah, so I actually, what I did for I'm going to write a review, and obviously I'm not going to play through this whole game again. As much as I love it, don't need to do that. What I did was I installed the Xbox version because it's playable on Series X. And I was kind of switching, like I started the game from scratch and was kind of switching back and forth to kind of feel the differences. So here's the thing. This is essentially that game. So if you own it on the original Xbox, this is kind of the same thing. The Switch version you can play portable, so there is that. The Switch version is also in widescreen, whereas the original Xbox version is still by 4:3. The Xbox version with the you know how they enhanced all the original back compat games to run in 4K? The Xbox version looks better.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is running off of the PC build.
I think it's the mobile port.
Oh,
Yeah.
That even makes that makes more sense.
But
Because I think it's Aspire that's made it though, right?
yeah, Spire ported it to the Switch, and I'm pretty sure it's that mobile, because the mobile port is the only one that's got true widescreen support. Am I correct in that?
Fuck, I just got it wrong. Why are you asking me?
Okay, I just couldn't remember if the PC version ever got official widescreen support.
The only reason why I guessed it was because Aspire, I think, ported it to Mac and Linux.
They may have. Although I will say I didn't notice a whole lot of difference in load times. The audio still sounds good on both versions, and the controls take a little while to get used to on Xbox because if you remember, it's back when we talked about this earlier, the black and white buttons existed, so those are still kind of on-screen prompts. But other than that, I think if you have that version, unless you want to play KOTOR on the Switch or portable, or you need that widescreen support, I don't see much reason to pick this version up. I mean, unless you just don't have an Xbox and you don't own that game, obviously. But it's amazing to me, going back and playing KOTOR, how much that game shits on so many other games. And that game is so fucking old, it's not even funny at this point. Like, the writing, the dialogue, the combat and everything in that game is so good. And there have been so many games that have tried to kind of parrot what it did almost 20 years ago and still fail to do what that game did, which makes me feel like this remake that they're doing is just, I don't know. I don't feel, I would rather have had, the third game in the series as opposed to let's remake that first one, I guess.
I'm looking at the guy's credits. Drew Karpyshyn. And then just looking at where it came from, Baldur's Gate 2 DLC or add-ons, expansions, whatever. Neverwinter Nights expansion, Knights of the Old Republic, Jade Empire, Mass Effect 2. Worked on the Old Republic, and they brought him in for Anthem. But then he went and wrote a bunch of novels.
I mean, the dude can write.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that shit, everything you just named outside of Anthem, is fucking peak storytelling. It just is.
I don't know about the MMO Old Republic, but
oh, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Oh, is it really?
I
Okay.
played I'd say about 40 to 50 hours of that game.
Oh, goddamn.
And the story of that game is incredible. It was a long time ago. But me and my wife played it for a little while until we just, the loop in that game is not good, but the story is fucking fantastic.
The problem is that originally that game was you can't all be Jedi because that's how that works, and then everybody got upset and they're like, I guess everybody can be fucking Jedi.
I mean, why would you play a Star Wars Online game if you can't be a Jedi? I was a Sith Lord when I played it.
I get it. But I'm just saying, it to me, it was I understand the logic of saying that. But...
Yeah, no, I like the story in that game is incredible. If you're a Star Wars fan, it's worth playing just for that. So, trying to think if there was anything else. I played the new Jurassic World Evolution 2, which is good. It's really good.
What is it? It's like a Zoo Tycoon thing, right?
You can do that, but the campaigns in those games are essentially, they fucked up, you go in and fix it. So this one...
that sounds way more interesting than I thought it was.
Yeah, so in this one, it takes place after the second world. And what has happened is, if you remember at the end of that, some of the dinosaurs got off into, the U.S., they're roaming there. So you and a team go out into the middle of the desert in Arizona and you start rounding them up to build a new park, because that's always the plot of Jurassic movies, is that you're going to build a new fucking park and nothing's going to go wrong, right? Right. So you're in the desert in Arizona and you're collecting the animals and building encampments for them and stuff like that. And it has all the voice actors. Here's the funny thing. It has all the voice actors for the movie -1. Can you...
Chris Pratt?
Yeah, he's not in it.
Oh, Chris Pratt, notable voice actor Chris Pratt.
Yeah, is not
I also
voicing.
say that a reason why I didn't bring it up, but you brought up Chris Pratt. The reason why I also like fucking Guardians of the Galaxy more, Chris Pratt isn't fucking Star-Lord. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, whoever's doing the Chris Pratt impression in this game is awful. I absolutely hate his voice acting. But everybody else is there. Goldblum is there. Bryce Dallas Howard is there. They're all there.
Better actors are there. Whoa.
Their voice actors are there. You see a little picture.
I'm kidding. I was just saying that they're better actors.
Yes. And I mean, these games control really well. Even with a controller, they work. I like the new how you can pause and speed up time so you can kind of build stuff and then, resume time or speed up time when you're bringing a dinosaur back. And Not to mention it looks incredible. And if you want to dig deep into these games, you totally can. Like, you can go down to like naming dinosaurs, and like it's really deep. Like, these games are good, but you have to be into those kind of games. Like, it has to be kind of your jam to want to micromanage a dinosaur park. It's not just drag and drop some dinosaurs into a park and watch people get eaten. Like, it's not what it is.
I mean, that's not what any of those games are for, really. Any of those like tycoon sort of games.
Yeah, I do like the ones like this one where you can literally go down into so like you can like go like ground level and drive the Jeep around and actually shoot the
that's fucking cool.
Yeah, you can do that in this game, and I really think that's a cool touch. So yeah, it's really good. If you like the first one, you'll really like the second one. Those campaigns are a lot better than most people give them credit for, and I really enjoy it. So that's a game that came out that I think a lot of people forgot came out. So, you know, if you've been waiting on that game, it is out, and it is very good. Oh, but that's all I've played. A bunch of Overwatch, Anthony, but you know, I don't need to talk about that. So let's talk about what's coming out this week. We've got the first expansion add-on for Far Cry 6 featuring Voss is out.
Okay, so I'm a comic book guy. I've gotten 3, I think there's only 3, Far Cry Rites of Passage comic. Each one of them was for one of these 3 characters, Voss, Pagan Min, and Joseph Seed. Right? It is Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph Seed. Those are the 3 DLCs they're doing for Far Cry 6. Yeah.
I couldn't remember if Joseph was the brother or not. That's where I...
Oh, yeah, the Seed. Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Joseph.
Anyways, and so I'm wondering if those are follow-ups or doing the same story, or...
I don't know. Maybe I'll boot it up this week and I'll let you know what it is. Because like, those things were built into the game from the start. Like, when you get to your first outpost, there's like an arcade machine, and you can go over and it says coming soon, and it's like, that's where you play these side missions, I think. So I'll see what they are. The Voss one launches this week, so maybe give me an excuse to boot back up Far Cry 6.
What I find interesting and is that the characters outside of Pagan Min are played by guys that look like the characters.
Yeah, and then it's Troy Baker.
I'm like, then it's Troy Baker. I'm just surprised they haven't tried to do more with these guys, because they are like, I'm surprised it took us this long to get to this. I mean, they were pretty quick with Joseph Seed because they did New Dawn, but
yeah,
still.
But New Dawn is after all that shit.
Yeah.
So, all right, Kingdom, Two Crowns, Northlands, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. By the way, this is Series X PS5 stuff. What's that?
I'm hoping that Frogware's title is good.
I've had a code in my inbox for weeks.
Oh, listen, I'm behind. I can't.
That's why I didn't ask you, and I actually asked Dave if he wanted. He's like, I thought about it, but then no. So that code is sitting in my inbox alongside Backbone and the new Gundam Code Fairy game. And an NHL.
Gundam ain't my jam.
An NHL 22 code still sits in my inbox as well. So, like, those are the games nobody would take. And I'm not saying they're bad games. I'm just saying that, like, either people weren't interested in them or we just didn't have time for them. So, now hockey, none of us are interested in. I'm sure it's a quality game, but nobody knows.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hockey.
I haven't heard anything that's like, this is the worst hockey game.
Yeah, I think the only reason I did last year's is because it had NHL 94, and I wanted to play that.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything bad about this one. generally NHL seems to go a lot smoother than NFL.
Well, that's because it's not as high profile too. Let's be fair.
Well, I'm in Canada, so
Well, I guess up there maybe, but down here,
Like-
NHL is just like, yeah, it's there, it's fine.
yeah. I mean, it's pretty. Yeah, man. The amount of people that'd be like every year they'll be like talking like you could pick up NHL. I'm like, man, I play video games, not hockey.
You know what's funny about this one is this is the first one that's built on the new engine. I do know that fact.
I feel like that we would have heard a lot worse than if it was bad.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I don't like a lot of people think we do this and we just we're wanting to get these codes and redeem them because we want free games. But like, dude, I got games sitting in my inbox. I don't redeem them if we're not going to cover them in some form or fashion. I just don't. I don't think it's right. I let them know.
No.
I'm like, hey, you can take this code back. And
there's been a couple times where it's like I've had to be like, I'm not getting that done in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, and PR people are really good about that. Like I know, like they were asking me this week, like the Doctor Who review, and I sent it back to him, and that's the one I was referencing on Twitter. I was like, I always hate sending like a bad review, but the guy that I had review it loves Doctor Who, and he did not like the game, and it's just like, well, yeah, it is what it is. And the guy was just like, thanks for the link. That was it.
Yeah, I think there's only one where I went, yeah, I'm not covering this just because of somebody being a prick. I'm not gonna say the game because I just don't need. I don't need that in my life.
Yeah.
But somebody else wrote a review that would have been very similar to mine. I was like in the process of writing it. I think you sent me the guy on Twitter, like just trying to like eviscerate this fucking man for writing a review for a site that I'm not familiar with. But I mean, people say that about this one, this site. But like, the guy had like maybe 5 or 6 followers on Twitter. Like 2. Like it wasn't like, or not that, but like he had less than me on my old Twitter account, and that's saying something. And he just wanted to go in on this guy, and it was just like, dude, your game was clearly built for a PC, and it doesn't play as well on consoles. So, yeah, like I got trapped in this specific spot, and you're gonna tell me that it's my fault, but like, based on everything that this game had told me up until this point, I should have been able to make it through, and then I got killed, and then I had to go back from my shit? Absolutely not. And it's like, it clearly did not run on consoles as well because it wasn't built for a controller, and that's fine. Concessions have to be made, but the fact that this man gave a review that wasn't even like wrong, like it wasn't a terrible review, but he just ripped into this guy, and I just went to you. I'm like, I don't really want to write it, and if they come to me, I'll tell them exactly why. Like if they come to you, Ken, like just send them to me, and I'll tell them why I'm not fucking writing it. It's the only time I've like actively went, I'm not fucking writing a review.
Most PR people are cool with what we talk about. Like sometimes developers get a little angry.
Oh, it was the developer.
Yeah,
that's
that's kind of the distinction there. It's like PR people are not assholes about most of this stuff. There are exceptions to the rule, there always are. But most of the time when you get people angry at you, it's usually the developer. And I get it, it's your baby. But like I don't know. It's sometimes things just aren't good, and I can't
and like
that.
in this particular case, it wasn't even that it was bad. It was just pointing out the flaws in the conversion, and this guy couldn't handle it. And I was just like, I don't even think it was the developer. I think it was maybe the publisher.
That could be too.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was just this really weird, like, I have not seen this on any level before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Most of the time when people reach out to me about a review, it's that there's something that's in there that's not factual, like the price is wrong, or this screenshot is not representative of what it is now, and I get that. But very rarely do we see somebody come at us like, hey, you don't like our game, your review is wrong. Like, I don't see that a lot.
I think the only time I can think of where I made a mistake, I don't even think we got called out for it. I think I spoke too in depth about, I know I'm bringing it up, sorry, but Disaster Report 4, when I kind of criticized it. there was stuff that I wasn't supposed to say, I don't think, and that they never said anything even.
They probably didn't care. I'll be fair about
No,
it.
they probably wanted to avoid the 4. They didn't want to have to acknowledge that I wrote a review that gave the game a 3 or a 4.
Yeah. It's funny, sometimes I'll get people, like, asking me, like, can you please review this, because then it helps us on Metacritic. I always think that one's funny. I'm like, if I cover your game, it'll be on Metacritic. If I don't cover your game, I just ain't gonna cover the game. There are too many fucking video games to cover every one of them, and it sucks, because we used to be in a place where we could cover every video game, but that hasn't been the case for many, many years. Alright, we also got Clang 2. I don't know what that is. Next Space Rebels. XO 1. Battlefield 2042 for the plebs. The people that didn't pay the obscene amount of money to play it. You can play it this week. Nerf Legends. Smoots Golf. The Jackbox Party Pack 7. Just in time for those uncomfortable Thanksgiving gatherings. And The Last Stand Aftermath.
Last Stand. Oh, wow. That's, do you know what The Last Stand is?
I do not, unless...
Okay, if this is what I think it is... Holy shit, it is. Okay, so The Last Stand was an old zombie game that was on Flash. And every day you could go out and like look for survivors and stuff, or get supplies. There's only so many hours in a day. It was just done through a menu. And at night, you would have a barrier up, and then you'd have to just shoot zombies, so you could like scroll up and down and shoot zombies. Very basic, but they did a couple of them. And Armor Games was the publisher. I think maybe the developer too.
Developer of this one is Con Artist Games, published by Armor Games.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now, but like, yeah. So Armor Games did some really good work on Flash. They might have been the people that did the inspiration for Angry Birds, even, I think. That or was on their website. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so I'm surprised that this series is still going. I was like, there's no way this is connected. Nope, sure enough, it's a zombie apocalypse. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, there you go. That's out this week.
Oh, hold on.
It's roguelike, isn't it?
Here's the user-defined tags for this product. Zombies, post-apocalyptic, roguelite.
I'm out.
Give me a second. I have to now find out. Never mind. It says it from the developer too.
Immediately, I am out.
I am interested. I think this looks fucking cool.
Oh, there you go. It's out this week. PlayStation 5, the only other stuff coming is deluxe edition of Kena Bridge of Spirits. I'm assuming that's a physical copy. And then the Kid Amnesia Exhibition. That's that Radiohead thing.
Radiohead.
Yeah. And Disco Elysium, the final cut. I thought that was already out. But...
That must be a physical.
Okay. Xbox One, PS4, we've got a lot of the same stuff, but we also have Grow, Song of the Evertree, Marsupilami, Huba Venture. They're bringing back Marsupilami?
I don't even know what that is.
Wasn't that one of those old platformers that was like on the Genesis or something? I swear to God, that was one of those
Marsupilami, hold on.
Character platformers.
Yeah, but it's based off of a comic book.
But wasn't it like on the Genesis?
TV show.
Or something?
Give me a second. Give me a fucking second.
I gotta know, like, I feel like this is another one of those, like, Cal the Kangaroo and shit.
No. Marsupilami actually had a Disney TV show.
Oh, okay, that's probably where I've heard of it from.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a game coming out this week.
Yeah, it had a Mega Drive game.
Oh, okay. That's probably... I know I've heard this before.
No, it had a Genesis game too. It had so it got released on worldwide.
Gotcha. That's where I've heard of it. I knew this was one of those. So, Surviving the Aftermath, The Smurfs, Mission Valif. Yes, there's a new Smurfs game out this week.
I wonder who that's made by.
I can tell you real quick.
Please do.
Smurfs Vision. It's made by Osum Studio, published by Microids.
Okay, so here's a fun fact. So Marsupilami is also published by Microids. You know what Microids published recently?
I know Microids for a bunch of old PC strategy games.
They published that stupid 13 remake.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Also, the Smurfs game looks like a pretty decent, like, linear 3D platformer.
I'd play it if it was in front of me.
Yeah.
Chef's Tale. I'm assuming that's an animal game because it's TAIL. So, Next Space Rebels. Tamarin. Them Bombs. My most anticipated releases of the week, and I know people think I'm stupid for this, but Blood Rain and Blood Rain 2 Revamped are out on console.
I don't think that's stupid at all.
I love those games. I can't wait to replay those games. Space Moth Lunar Edition. Undungeon. Ark Survival Evolved, the Ultimate Survivor Edition.
I'm sorry. Undungeon?
Undungeon's coming to Game Pass. I read about it. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Oh, I was hoping it was by the same guy who did Unepic and
I know it's coming to
doesn't
Game
seem to
Pass
be.
day one. That's the reason I saw it kind of float up in the news this week. Depotism 3K. The Eternal Cylinder. Why is that on here? That's already out. That's weird. 200 Ways. Move over to PS4, see if there's anything different besides what we've already mentioned. Sometimes that happens. Come on, load. I can't vamp forever. A Short Hike. The Wild at Heart. Yuki. And that's it for PS4 and Xbox One. Nintendo Switch. I'm going to skip over everything I've already said, but we've also got Fish Witch Halloween. Hextech Mayhem, a League of Legends story. That's interesting. Instant Sports, Winter Games. Instant Tennis. Root, Star Wars Jedi Knight Collection, Star Wars Racer and Commando Combo, Arcadia Fallen, Mastho, I can't, Mastho, how would you say that? Mastho?
Sure.
Mastho is together. That's the name of the game. HICH, Ice Station Z, Cosmonauts, Academy Escape, Nin Nin Days 2, Romeo in the Cracked World. Romeo. Oh shit. Would you like to run an idol cafe? 20 ladies. So this is the game I was telling you about last week, how the PS4 version is 20 bunnies.
Oh.
This is the Switch version, and it's called 20 Ladies. So,
I think the bunnies is worse.
well, I mean, the bunnies aren't scantily clad.
The bunnies are appealing to a very different demographic
But they're not.
called furries, and I'm not even shitting on them, but it's just like I don't think this change is as big as you think it is.
Okay, well, that's fair.
It's a
City,
weird change. PlayStation, weird change.
yeah, City Traffic Driver, Exertus Redux, NASCAR Heat Ultimate Edition Plus, Razor Wire Nano Wars, Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, I'm assuming that's physical,
Yeah.
and Whiskey Mafia Leo's Family. And finally, probably the biggest release this week outside of Battlefield, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Yeah, I'll be picking up Diamond.
I can probably get it if
You want to get me Pearl then?
I can ask this week.
Yeah. Watch, they'll give me fucking Diamond. No, I want Pearl.
I
if
think
that's the
I
case.
think if we get them, we can get both, and I'll just give you whichever one you want.
Yeah, I'll take because I'm gonna pick up. So, background story time, people that don't care, but this is a podcast, so I have to fill space. There was a big gap in playing Pokemon for me. I did not engage with the Game Boy Advance games whatsoever. I kind of ended at Silver. I had friends that got Crystal. I went, that's really cool. And then I kind of broke off and just didn't care. And honestly, a big portion of that was because I started playing Mega Man Battle Network, which I found way more exciting. And it's still one of my favorite series of all time. I definitely had friends that engaged with the Game Boy Advance games. I have a friend that played Emerald like to completion, and loved it. And I'm like, this is neat, but this is not really for me. And then I was subscribed to Nintendo Power at the time, and they were like, here's the new Pokemon game. And I went, that looks fucking amazing. And so I picked up Diamond, he picked up Pearl. And I don't think the games have ever been better than those. And the reason being is that
They're named after
there
a
was.
Prince song.
Sorry?
They're named after a Prince song.
Huh.
That's why they're never
Great.
going to get better.
But like, I think there was now some of this stuff has been changed for the remake, I know, but I think it's a perfect amount of difficulty. I think there was the perfect amount of content. It just seemed to understand, like, yeah, we're not gonna put as much work into bringing old Pokemon over, because you're not gonna see it unless you have a Game Boy game in the bottom slot of your DS, and you go to the PAL Park or whatever. But it was just this really smart. It had like a bunch of endgame content. It was totally optional. I loved it. It was like, yeah, you're finished, you're done. Or if you don't want to stop playing, here's a bunch of other stuff. And then when they did the third in the series, right? Like they were doing 3 at that point in time. So it was Ruby, Sapphire, and then Emerald. It was Gold, Silver, and then Crystal. This one was Platinum, and Platinum added content, changed a few things. It was really neat. I really like those games. Then they did Black and White. That, I'm gonna be honest with you, I tried to play Black and White, and I was like, these are not for me. I regret trading in my copies now, mainly because they're a lot more money than what I traded them in for. But I was like, yeah, they're just not for me. And I kind of broke off. Let's be honest, Black and White was not well done, so they ended up doing Black and White 2, which were better versions of those games. And then I tried again with Pokemon X, and they were. I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, Game Freak's fucking up, and it's just lazy and blah blah blah. But I thought the perfect difficulty solution was having experience share be an item that one Pokemon could hold, and so you could level them up. And by making it it's either on or off, which is what they did with X and Y, and now it's just always on, I think, kind of pushes you through the game really quickly. And I always loved exploring and seeing what I could capture in an area as long as possible. Now, it's not that anymore, but there was a lot of extra stuff in Diamond and Pearl, like putting ribbons on your Pokemon by entering them in certain competitions that would boost certain stats, and all this extra content that was totally unnecessary, but it was something you could fully engage with if you wanted to, and it would, increase stats and stuff. I loved all that shit. It made me feel like this was actually a world that I was engaging with, and I don't think it's ever felt that way again, because they just kept going to gimmick, like from gimmick to gimmick. Like, oh, now there's X evolutions or Z moves or whatever the fuck else they're doing, and I'm like, that's not what was cool about this. What was cool was it felt like I was in a real world that was living. The fact that Pokemon suddenly changed forms depending on like whether you're on the east or west coast, or like whether it was raining or not, and that was all really neat shit that we hadn't seen before. And I'm gonna be honest with you, they haven't done as well since. So I'm really excited, and that's the reason why I'm gonna pick up Diamond, because I picked up Diamond, and that was like a really amazing experience for me. Like, having it at the perfect time, it made me really social with a few people that were also playing it. Like, it was like the renaissance had finally happened, because as much as people will tell me that like the Game Boy Advance games were really good, and I believe in them, they were just not as popular. They just weren't.
While you were talking, I forgot another game I played.
Oh no. Is it good or bad?
Well,
Oh, that's bad.
I played Elden Ring.
Oh shit, that's not bad at all.
I did. I played Elden Ring, and
You know,
that
you kind of liked it, didn't you?
that game is pretty good. Um, it is very much Dark Souls in an open world. With a lot more. There seem to be a lot more checkpoints, which I think some people are going to be very unhappy about because they are very protective of their difficulty,
Um, yeah.
and you
I don't
could.
know. I feel like From Software's realized, like, oh, if we're gonna be the popular ones, we're gonna
I
do the things.
you can jump. There,
Well, that started to be a thing later on.
I mean, there's a dedicated jump button.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you can just jump. Um, it also has these little things that kind of tell you where to go, like a little stream in the wind, kind of like Ghost of Tsushima, kind of like this little thing, like, hey, you should go this way.
I like it. That's
Um,
smart.
it is very Dark Souls though, and like I ran around the world and was like attacking. Like there's camps. There's a little bit of Far Cry in this. Like there's a camp of enemies. So check this out. You go into the camp and you attack these enemies. When I cleared the camp, it refilled my flask.
Very interesting.
Right?
This is a very interesting, like,
Yeah, but then
move.
so like you walk around the world, it's all open, and then you can go into like these caves that go like underground, and that's when it gets really Dark Soulsy. Like I shit you not, I went down in this cave and I'm exploring, just looking around stuff, killing enemies. I see this like really shiny thing in the middle of a room, so I kind of walk in the room. I swear to God, I hadn't been this scared since the dogs jumped out of the window in Resident Evil. But this fucking like goblin looking thing just jumped out of the corner and was like, it scared the ever loving piss out of me. Needless to say, that was when I died. I got so disoriented and freaked out that I just could not get my combat roll going, and I just got smoked.
It's kind of funny. I'm sorry.
No, it just shocked me, and I might play this one. I like this game.
It's funny you mentioned it, and this is just I'm sharing it because we had the difficulty discussion a week or two ago. And this is from the guy who created Dusk, which is a difficult game. You know, it's not like a cakewalk. And somebody wrote to him, I got Dusk on Switch, and when I saw accessible in the difficulty options, my heart fucking shattered. And David, who is the developer.
Yeah, David Zemansky. Yeah, he created Dusk. Which, by the way, I wrote my review this week. I could not talk any more highly about that game. It's so fucking good.
He wrote, my cousin, who introduced me to Doom and jump-started my love of retro FPS, has MS and can only play games with one hand. He was able to complete Dusk on accessible using an MMO mouse. If your heart is shattered by Dusk difficulty options, that's your problem.
Yeah.
And that's going to be my response to anybody that's like, well, difficulty options. If you look at like an easier option and you get upset, like, that's a you problem. That's not an anybody else problem. And like, people were upset with him. It's his game! So it clearly isn't the conversation about the creator's vision. It never was. Like,
No.
This is my problem. Like, he made the game specifically so, like, in this particular case, a loved one could play. A loved one who shaped his view of gaming, by the way. Like, you know, it's not about that. It's about a superiority complex, which, by the way, doesn't matter when playing single-player games.
No, I don't care. Like you telling me that you finished Bloodborne with one hand tied behind your back blindfolded, I don't give a shit.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm impressed.
Sure,
but like,
but
at
it's
the
not
end of
gonna-
the day, like, me being impressed doesn't convert to monetary value.
My impression is going to last all of 30 seconds, and then
I'm more impressed by the guy that played it on bananas, anyways. So
That's true.
you have a lot to go.
But no, Elden Ring, pretty good. Should give that game a look, even if you don't like Souls games.
What is it coming out on?
Everything.
Shit! I
except
might
Switch.
get involved.
Except
Oh
Switch.
my god, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, yeah, I might play it. God.
Everything but Switch. So.
Yeah, that's fine. In this particular case, Dark Souls was a bad idea because it's kind of an always online game. Now, I don't know if this one has invasions and shit, but I'm going to take a wild guess and say probably.
Alright.
News time.
News time. Hold on, I'm replying to a text. I apologize. I gotta get pizza ready for football, you know? Pizza. It's gotta be pizza.
Shacaronis?
No, that's gone.
What?
Yeah, no more shakaroni.
Is it a limited time thing? Or is it
Yeah,
just
they only
gone
do it
forever?
for a little bit. They're doing bacon pizza now.
What type of... Hold on.
Hmm.
This is food discussion time now. Never mind, cancel news. Food discussion time. What type of bacon?
I mean, it's full strips of bacon.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, that's not good.
It's kind of
Bacon
weird.
crumble or nothing.
Yeah, it's full strips. Like in the commercial, they show somebody taking a bite and like a whole piece of bacon comes off, and it's like, eh.
This is a legitimate question. Are there people that prefer that over the bacon crumble?
I have no clue. I don't eat bacon on
me-
pizza a lot, but if I do, it's gonna be crumbles.
Because, like, to me, like, the texture of bacon does not compute with the rest of a pizza.
Yeah.
It's chewier or it's too crispy, in which case, don't even bother. You've just ruined bacon. Yeah, I don't know. Full strips of bacon that, like, sit in the cheese. I'm like, this just... No. It's never worked. I've always been... Like, people that hand me, like, here's some homemade pizza. It's got bacon on it, and it's just a strip of bacon. I'm like, this is not good.
All right.
You ruined it.
I had a couple quick beats here that I was looking at on my Twitter feed that I didn't have in my notes, which was Unity bought Weta's digital 3D tools for $1.6 billion.
I guess... I mean, does that mean Unity's going to start trying to also move towards Hollywood stuff?
I think it's just for the
Unreal
asset
does,
libraries.
so it's not like it's out of the question.
I think it's asset libraries and tools is what they were looking to get out of that deal, which those are some good tools. So
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It's just such a very specific. Those tools have been very specifically used for movies, so it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're trying to cut into Unreal's bank that way as well, because I mean, they are clear competitors.
yeah, that's possible. All right. I thought I had another one on my Twitter feed, but I guess I didn't. Fight Night is in development at EA, probably a few years out, but they are bringing that series back. So, makes sense. I mean, boxing has been gone for a long time, so.
Boxing's also more popular right now.
Yeah.
I mean, due to stupid fights of YouTubers, but nevertheless.
We got 2 delays this week. Both of them are hardware. Playdate has been delayed. They sent out a really detailed email about why. Again, parts, things like that.
They're a really nice company.
Yep. So
I hate to say that because technically it's a company still, but like they're pretty upfront and honest about everything.
Also, the Steam Deck has been delayed into 2022.
They had the worst email. Steam Deck shipping update. It's not. Oh.
Yeah, pretty much. Xbox Series consoles have already outsold Xbox One lifetime. There's plenty of jokes in there about selling 5 consoles,
Yeah.
and they're all warranted, but it is still impressive that they're making some foothold. Xbox Series S is doing very well in Japan, which makes sense because it's a tiny little machine, you know? So.
Do you have any about the GTA trilogy, by the way?
Any what?
News?
I mean, we talked about it already. I mean, that,
Okay, well, here's some news that we didn't talk about. The entire source code for the Switch version was leaked. It just apparently the source code was leaked through the Switch version, I think, is how that worked. That wow, just it was there, accessible, and then apparently hot coffee files are still in the game.
well, why not? Why not?
They learned nothing.
1 versus 100 is coming back, according to Jeffrey Grubb.
Cool.
I guess it's probably like a year or two away, and it's going to be more like open, so it's not going to just be on Xbox. It'll be like on your phone or on your PC or
That's how it should be.
yeah. So expect to see that. I guess there's going to be a VR version too for PC. So the Gunk also got a release date. It's coming this year, 12/16, and it'll be day one in Game Pass. Jeff Keighley out there running it up, saying, you know, he's going to have like 50 to 60 games at the Game Awards with double-digit world premieres.
And no fucking NFTs. Get fucked.
Yeah, he said fuck you NFTs, which mad respect, Jeff Keighley. I'm all about that.
You know, it's funny. At one point in time, I thought I hated Jeff Keighley. I don't. I kind of respect him the more and more
He's
days
an
go
alright
on.
dude. He's an alright dude.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime remaster development is complete.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. You just threw this in here to make me angry.
I think I do throw it
It's
in
the same fucking person. I get it. The girl fucking keeps saying shit. She's also the one that said Mother 3 was coming to like fucking Wii U years ago. It didn't happen.
Alright,
And she's been spouting this nonsense for a while.
Calm down.
Stop fucking listening to her. Oh, by the way, the main person that reports on it, Nintendo Life, can also get fucked.
All good. Okay.
With their shill writer who's like, yeah, the Intellivision Amico is going to be really good. It's not Damien. You shill. You hack shill, you.
Forza Horizon 5, when I wrote this, had broke 6 million players, but I saw that it's nearing 8 million now.
That's crazy.
Also, that game outsold Returnal before it landed in Game Pass.
I mean, that's an unfair
It
comparison.
is, but you know that if it was reversed, the other people would make the same argument. So whatever.
I feel like no matter what side it's on, people would still have that argument.
Yeah, it's a stupid argument. But it's good.
Returnal sold more. They fucking Sony. It's like his fanboys suck. Don't be a fanboy.
Yeah, don't be a fanboy. I'm just glad to see that Forza sold a ton of copies, even though it's in Game Pass. Like that just shows that Game Pass does not destroy game sales. So
Nope.
All right. NPD numbers. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but the Switch obviously is back on top. I mean, didn't last long that it wasn't on top, and that's obviously because of, OLED. The top games for the month of October, Far Cry 6, number 1. Boy, all that critical stuff really hurt that game. Back 4 Blood, number 2. Again, Game Pass and critical reception did not ruin that game. Number 3, Metroid Dread. I saw the Nintendo fanboys out there going, well, it didn't include digital sales. It sold more. I was like, none of these include digital sales.
It's like the amount of sales, it's the best launch Metroid's ever had.
Yes.
There.
It did well. I'm happy for it. Number 4, Madden 22. None of these have shocked you so far, but are you ready for a shock? Number 5?
No. I'm not ready for a shock. We better move on to the next thing and just let everybody listening.
Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles is number 5.
Surprising because the CyberConnect 2 game is on there. Not surprised because I'm pretty sure that's a pretty popular anime.
The rest of these are pretty obvious. FIFA 22 at number 6. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, not a bad showing at number 7. Mario Party Superstars at number 8. NHL 22 at 9. And NBA 2K 22 at 10. Mario Kart is still on the list, but it has dropped to number 11. I swear, the way this list is written, it looks like it says Mortal Kombat 2, but it's Mortal Kombat 11. Kind of threw me off. By the way, Minecraft and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild are still in the top 20. Just
Not surprised.
FYI. Yeah.
What else do you have?
I've got the
what's-
Xbox stuff.
Okay, so that's the big one.
Yes, I have actually 3, well, 2 are kind of the same. One of them is about new games.
Okay, so Far Cry's boss has left Ubisoft.
I saw that. That's the next one. There's been a lot of those.
Yep. Where is the other one? It came out as a rumor, and all I have to say is, no shit. Beyond Good and Evil is suffering from a development crisis. No, really?
I've also heard that it's nearing cancellation.
It just should be canceled.
Probably.
It wasn't what anybody wanted anyways. And, like, the same with Skull and Bones.
What about Joseph Gordon-Levitt's artist program?
The Please Work for Nothing program? Get fucked. You'll be paid in fucking...
NFTs,
whatever.
baby.
No, exposure.
Yeah, whatever.
Fortnite has a Naruto Shippuden collaboration coming.
Which wasn't even like the highlight, right? It was like there was also a Dark Phoenix one that came out.
Is there? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fortnite.
Fortnite is just this amorphous blob, the amoeba that's just absorbing everything else into its mass.
It is the metaverse.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Facebook wants to be meta? Nah, motherfucker, that's Fortnite.
It's perfect timing that the Gunk got a release date because the next Steam World game has been announced.
Yeah, Headhunter, I think is what it's
called. So we saw Marvel's Avengers Spider-Man.
We saw a Photoshop of him over top.
No, there's a trailer.
I saw it. It's CGI. It's not...
Yeah.
Does anybody give a shit? I legitimately I know this was a fanboy, like gasoline thing. But does anybody really give a shit? Like, Spider-Man in that game is not going to play as good as he does in Insomniac's games.
No, and it's not... Yeah, well, it's not... He's also not going to be as... Even if he did, he's going to be in a worse game.
And he's got to be limited because he's only on one console.
Limited! Yeah, I don't know. But Marvel's Avengers either needs to be completely rehauled or just dropped.
Does that game have crossplay?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say if there's crossplay, like how does Spider-Man show up on the Xbox? Like, do you see him, or is he just like a blob that's like in that South Park episode?
It's got the same thing as Grounded. It turns the spiders into just balls.
What about the South Park episode where they just had the big sensor blocks because they couldn't show a certain character? I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, they had him in like a bear suit or something.
Yeah.
That'd be dude. I would play it if that's how Spider-Man showed up on the Xbox.
And then this last one is funny because I was talking about it earlier, and I don't see the issue with this. But Pokemon Diamond, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl share the same ROM. It's just switches that have been flipped.
So
exactly,
that's the same fucking game. It's just got different Pokemon.
Yeah. So like to me, it's like, okay, that makes sense. And other people are like, see, it's laziness. I'm like,
no.
I don't... like, the data's gonna be in there anyways, so really that's kind of all it would have to be. It's just this is the easiest way to do it.
You know what I think is hilarious? People that call developers lazy are probably tweeting from their job that they are not doing.
The only time I think you can really say, and this is not to back up what I said earlier, like, is when you have, like, clear proof of cutting corners, like with the GTA trilogy. That's when a dev is lazy. Like, why would you have AI scale stuff? Laziness. I mean...
Yeah, that's because you don't want to do the work.
This isn't a fan modder, and, like, you know, my friend brought up, because I was talking to him last night, and he said, well, didn't they use AI to like scale stuff in one of the Final Fantasy games. And I can't remember if it was. I don't think it was Square, because Square actually went in and changed models. I think in 9 and 8 and stuff. But it depends on what you're doing it with. Like, if you're doing it with really detailed graphics, which GTA never had, like, it's pretty clear what the AI is going to draw out of it, right? But when it comes to text and stuff, like, that's an easy thing to look at and go, it's not, like, we're not working in a fantasy aspect here. So, that's a lazy move. This is not a lazy move, but people have been pointing out, like, well, it just shows you that there's no point of 2 copies. And I hate to break it to you, but there was never a point of selling 2 copies other than make money.
Yeah, the cartridges are probably the same with a switch flipped. So
I think originally they weren't. Like in gold and silver, they definitely aren't because they have different sprites. But like, we're past that now. That's not been the case for a long time. And like, even if it was, even if they were making separate copies, like in 3D model world, all the 3D models have to look the same. So it might have been even just a bigger waste of time had that been the case. So,
all right, what else you got?
that's it for me.
All right, let's dig into this Xbox stuff. The first thing we're going to talk about is 2 new projects, because I feel like every week there's a new project coming out of Xbox. This one is Compulsion's game. This is credit to Jez Corden over at Windows Central. He has details on Compulsion's new game. It's currently codenamed Midnight. Upcoming title is supposedly a third-person action game set in a dark and fantastical world. Some of the game's early concept artwork can be seen above. I have pictures of it. They represent the game's protagonist alongside warped harpy-like humanoids that appear to descend through various iterations of mutation. On the left, we can see what appears to be a harpy nest dwelling built atop a tree. Midnight is described as a coming-of-age tale drawing upon inspiration from America's Deep South. The game features magic and large fantastical beasts with a strong Southern Gothic vibe. The game is a wholly single-player experience with what has been described to me as a strong story. So that's Compulsion's next game. Next up is Obsidian's Pentiment.
What's Compulsion?
Compulsion was We Happy Few.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Pentiment is Obsidian's new game, which refers to an underlying image in a painting, especially one that has become visible when the top layer of paint has been turned transparent with age. This comes from Grub. He mentions that this game is taking cues from Disco Elysium and branching narrative designs Josh Sawyer is known for. You'll be able to investigate, make accusations against the characters in game, which could lead to cascading consequences if you're wrong. It'll be a dialogue-heavy game with decisions to make and response options to choose from, which will shape the experience as you unwrap the murder conspiracy before you. This is another small team at Obsidian, I think 12 people working on this game. So there's your 2 new Xbox announced games, well, not announced, but rumored games for the week. Now, let's do the part where everybody probably already knows the answer to this, but the 20th anniversary Xbox celebration is on Monday, I believe at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Tons of rumors floating around about this. The biggest one being that Halo Infinite's multiplayer will drop as kind of like a, 20th anniversary of Halo launching. I have heard that has been pushed back a little bit, but still scheduled to come in November, so maybe they'll announce the date tomorrow. Or they may not say anything at all. Or it may not be true. It's just a rumor. The other piece of this is that a bunch of games have been showing up on the Xbox Live Marketplace. A bunch of backward compatible games are getting massive 500 megabyte updates over the weekend. So is backwards compatibility returning? Are back compat games getting FPS boost? Who knows? We'll find out tomorrow. But I do have a list of games that showed up on the Marketplace. We got Dead or Alive 1, 2, and 3, Manhunt, Max Payne 1, 2, and 3, Oddworld Munch's Odyssey, Red Dead Revolver, Star Wars Clone Wars, and Episode 3, as well as Thrillville. So maybe we're getting more back compat games tomorrow?
I really hope there's more to that list, but you know, it's what it is. I'm not like upset. It's just one of those things where like, yeah, none of that's like my jam. But
I think the biggest thing I'd want from this is I would like those games to be real, and I would also like this program to start back up. You remember back in the day when we used to get like a drop a week?
dude, oh, what a good move that was.
Yeah, like go back to that. Start dropping games.
I'm gonna say something, and it's just because I hate the fact that it's so expensive for a game that's not amazing. Put out Splatterhouse again, Namco,
Oh God, that 20 whatever.
because it has Splatterhouse 1, 2, and 3 in it.
I like that 3D
Okay,
one.
but it's not the greatest game.
No,
ever,
it's
right?
not a good game,
So-
but I liked it.
I don't think it's a bad. You say that like it's not a good. I think it's a.
It's a very mediocre
good game, like 6.5, maybe a 7. But that game goes for like $100 used,
Yeah, that game. I was
and
thinking
that
about
game
that
is not
game.
worth $100.
I was thinking about that game the other day, and I was like, man, I'd really like to play that.
So let's get that back, and then the other one. And I know this is a very weird thing,
I reviewed that game.
but also from. Did I say Capcom earlier? I meant Namco. Also from Namco. Hey, how about we relist Soul Calibur 4?
Yeah, with the Star Wars.
Yeah. Because as much as people hated Yoda and stuff, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Soul Calibur 4 was pretty cool. Soul Calibur 5 can spin. But like Soul Calibur 4, there was some neat shit in that game, and I would like that back. Even though I own it on 360 and PS3 in the limited editions.
Dude, I'm reading my review for Splatterhouse. I can't believe that I still have this. I could go look at this. I recommend renting if you are even remotely interested, but for hardcore fans of the genre. There's that line! Hardcore fans of the genre. There are plenty of better games to occupy the cash in your wallet this holiday.
I wonder, hold on, give me a second. I wonder how much I spent on my copy.
Oh my god, I mentioned the pictures. The pictures you
man.
collect in the game.
Of the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. I wonder if this review
Howard
date
Dawson
is...
did the music for that, and you might know him from the soundtrack of like Sonic and Knuckles.
I don't... Like, the scores for these old reviews are gone because they were in a previous WordPress
Build.
template, so I don't know what it was. I guess I could look it up on Metacritic.
Wow, it was 2010 that game came out. It's 11 years old.
Oh, do they have...
And Howard Dawson I was right. He was the composer. Yeah, you might know him from Sonic Spinball.
Hold on. I think I can find my score on Metacritic. I want to know what I gave that game. Am I on here? There I am. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
That's about right. Like
Yeah.
6, 7.
I reviewed it December 21st of 2010.
Wow.
Wow. God bless it. My quote on Metacritic is Splatterhouse is the kind of game that simply falls victim to its troubled development cycle.
But that might be the most generic statement.
Dude, think about this. That is 11 years ago that I wrote
know.
that.
I know.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I want to play that game again. I know it's not a great game, but I do want to play it again. Alright, I got an email from Antonio. It says, "Sup, fellas, I've been enjoying GTA 3 despite some issues and looking forward to finally beating the game after 20 years. I've also been playing Mafia Definitive Edition, courtesy of PlayStation Now, and that is a really great game. But, side note, my PlayStation Now is expiring today. I am not renewing. I did not use it the entire year I had it." That's my comment, not his, by the way. He says, "In lieu of Forza Horizon success, racing games can seem niche, but some do really well. The best-selling first-party games on the first 3 PlayStation consoles are all Gran Turismo games. GT6 stumbled hard due to its releasing on PS3 after the PS4 dropped. GT6 has the lowest sales in the series with just over 5 million copies sold. I believe Drive Club was the reason why Sony felt like a PS4 port of GT6 wasn't needed. Luckily, they're not making that mistake with GT7. By the way, Sport has a little over 8 million copies sold, which is really good despite the lackluster reception it got. I'm excited as hell for 7 and it should do really well. I also hope the next Forza Motorsport is shaping up well because the last one wasn't all that great and basically become the number 2 racer out of Playground games. Actually, Motorsport's made by Turn 10, not Playground. 2 different teams. To kind of piggyback on his racing conversation, the second episode of the Digital Foundry Retro for Ridge Racer went up this week. I highly recommend watching that. They go through the second decade of Ridge Racer, which includes the PSP games, the 360 and the PS3 version of Ridge Racer 6 and 7. I was watching that right before we started recording. It's very good, and it makes me really, really wish there was a way to easily play, Ridge Racers and Ridge Racer 6 and 7. Because you need those consoles to play those games.
Funny you mentioned that. Don't ask me why it's jumped. But when we were talking about the Xbox earlier, I forgot to mention the original Xbox. To me, reminds me of the PSP because it felt like a tool that more technologically savvy people were interested in because of all the things you could do with it.
Yeah, it had the LAN port in the back. It had a built-in hard drive.
Yeah, but you could like the people I knew that had one, like there was a teacher at my school who said he had one, and he just filled it with emulators and stuff.
Yeah, I have an
Because you
Xbox.
could.
I have an Xbox in my closet that if you boot it up, it boots to like a emulator menu, and you can basically just sideload anything you want onto it.
Yeah, so that was the thing that I forgot to mention earlier. It's that was the neat part about it. Was you couldn't do this shit with a PS2.
Yeah. His last note says, on a food-related note, I cut up some hot dogs and threw them into a small pot with some Bush's baked beans. I have to say, that will never not taste good to me. So basic, but extremely filling.
I don't know about that. I mean, I'm not a bean person, but sausage makes more sense. Hot dogs, I don't know.
Jesus
Depends on the hot
Christ.
dog, I suppose.
I feel so old right now. The Offspring just tweeted the Conspiracy of One is 21 years old today.
God damn.
I remember driving to work listening to that album. Jesus
Girls
Christ.
are old.
Fuck. It doesn't help that the Nevermind's 30th anniversary was this past week, too. 30th. 30 fucking years.
Older than me.
I remember buying that album when it came out. Holy shit. That was actually something I was thinking about getting myself for Christmas or my wife wanted to get it for me for Christmas, was the 30th anniversary release of that, of Nevermind. I think it comes with a DVD with a bunch of never before seen live shows and stuff. 30 years though, man. God damn. Anyway. I can't think of Bush's baked beans without thinking about that commercial with the dog. You ever seen that commercial?
No, because I don't think we sell Bush's baked beans up here.
Okay. To look up Bush's baked bean dog commercial. That thing was on TV every 5 seconds. Alright, I'm over to the Twitter. Real Shogun Beat says, rumor has it that we might be playing Halo tomorrow. Yeah, that's the rumor. Guess we'll find
Okay.
out
Before
tomorrow.
someone inevitably corrects me, they do sell Bush's baked beans up here, apparently.
Oh, well, there you go. So far, reviews for Battlefield 2042 are all negative, but I'm not sure if people are just complaining. But my experience has been very good. Series X, the game is fun, and I really wish reviewers would judge the game based off the package, not what you wished it would have been. I haven't played anything outside of the beta, so I don't know. But yeah, you're right. The reception around it sounds pretty bad. But then again, it's only multiplayer, so I won't touch it.
I think I get the point, and I agree to a certain extent where it's yeah, you have to judge it off of what it is, not what it isn't. But at the same time, that is on the fault of previous outings from the same company. Black Ops 4. didn't get the same critical reception as Black Ops 2 and 1. 3 was a weird thing.
Have they made
Um,
4?
Sorry?
Have they made 4 Black Ops? I thought there was only 3.
There's 3 Black Ops games, and then there's 4, which was the multiplayer only one.
That's Cold War?
No. Black Ops 1 and 2 on 360. Black Ops 3 was the weird zombie one.
What's Black Ops?
You go through.
What's
Black
Cold
Ops 4
War?
is multiplayer only.
What is Cold War then? Is that 5?
Cold War is the beginning of the Black Ops series. No, sorry. Cold War is the newest one in the Black Ops series. World at War was the first in the Black Ops series.
I can't follow this shit anymore. What was it?
Black
Call of
Ops
Duty
4.
4, Modern Warfare 2?
2018. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was 2018.
Okay. If I believe you, I do not doubt you. I just don't remember half of this shit.
Do you remember the fact that they wrote 4 as 4 vertical lines rather than the IV Roman numerals?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Call of Duty's fucking crazy to me anymore.
And then Cold War was last year's entry into that.
Okay, so that's like
sub-series.
technically the 5th Black Ops game.
No.
But it's Black Ops Cold War. How is it not a Black Ops game?
I suppose, yes, but World at War is the first one, so it's actually like the 5th entry?
You mean 6th?
Or 6th entry? Yeah, fucking, I don't know, man. It's all... And then there's that shitty PlayStation Vita one that I didn't even see fucking here. Declassified. There it is.
Vita.
Oops.
Alright, John writes in and says, "Hey guys, we just got through our Halloween candy at my house, and I, as a 40-year-old man, just realized that I don't like Kit Kats very much. I know this is strange to discover later in life, and have you had a similar experience with any kind of food?" Huh. Trying to think of a food that I've realized that I don't like, even though I told myself I liked it.
Yeah.
You know, probably the closest thing to me for that is probably eggs, and I'll still eat eggs, but like, I won't go out of my way to eat eggs. And I used to be like, let's go get some breakfast, have some scrambled eggs, some toast, some bacon. But now, like, I don't ever order eggs. So maybe I don't like them. I don't.
I know part of it is that recipes have changed and it's always hit and miss anyways. Less of, I guess, a specific food, but one day I just went, I don't really like McDonald's.
Well, I mean...
Well, I used to, I think.
Well, it was different.
Like,
it used to taste different.
It was. But I also think their quality standards have dropped immensely.
Well, there is that too, but I also do think it's the ingredients. I do think that the only thing that's been good at McDonald's since the beginning of time is the Coke and the fries.
Yeah, I don't even agree with that. That's where we're at. Like, I just was like, yeah, these Cokes don't taste the same. Like, nothing is as good as it used to be here.
I can tell you that McDonald's cheeseburgers used to be the most delicious fucking thing on the planet, and now they taste like just fucking dirt.
Their fries...
I can always eat their fries.
I'll tell you why I can't eat their fries. They are... I swear to God, like, the last couple times I've had fries, they just weren't very good. Now, I know that, like, they aren't cooked in the same grease. I don't need to hear that from people. But I found that as of late, their answer to making good fries is not heat and not, like, making sure they're fresh, but just to salt the absolute fuck out of them. And I'm just like, I don't like these anymore. Like, they just don't taste right. Like, I know that some people, I'm pretty sure you don't like them, Ken. Wendy's fries.
They just changed those.
But sorry?
They just changed those,
Yeah, I haven't had the new ones, but like all the other fries from everywhere else I would rather have than McDonald's fries at this point. And that was not the case always. And it's just like, yeah, I've just over time I've just been like, yeah, this isn't for me. Like, I used to like their junior chickens, and then I was just like, these are fucking chores to eat. I will say this, and this is the only compliment I'll give McDonald's. Those fucking spicy nuggets are really goddamn good. That's it. That's the only compliment.
I
They're
don't
not like
have
the best food ever, but like I was surprised at how much kick they had for what they were.
I don't know.
Like,
I
that-
can't.
just
I
talk
can't eat
about it.
anything. I can't eat anything at McDonald's except for the fries. Like I've tried
Yeah, like
everything there, and I can't eat it.
it just feels like eating sawdust,
It's
which
so
might actually be more pleasurable.
it's so disgusting. Like all fast food has been trash to me lately, but McDonald's is like upper echelon of trash.
Yeah, and like I know I criticized their burgers, but at least with going to like Five Guys, I knew it was real food.
Yeah,
So like I never felt like it never felt like a slog to eat through. Like I didn't halfway through suddenly feel like my heart had stopped beating and like I was going to die eating this meal. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of other things though, like actual foods that I just over time have been like, I don't know if I like these. I think I'm pretty picky, so it really doesn't matter because I'm kind of forced to eat what I eat anyways. Yeah, I can only specifically think of places I just don't go anymore. I know I don't like Popeye's chicken. That's about it.
Oh man, I don't know if you've seen the story floating around about Popeye's chicken, but nobody should ever eat at that place.
Why would you say that?
My wife sent me this thing about this like delivery guy that showed up one morning, like was delivering stuff and turned on the lights, and just like 100 rats went running.
Oh.
Like,
I mean, I'm pretty sure we have different health standards up here, but
well, I mean, we have pretty good health standards down here too.
yeah, you say that, but I know enough about the U.S. for
like I will never ever. No.
But yeah, like I just honestly, I think they're pretty far gone at. God, I'm just trying to think of candy now.
Milky Way? I don't think I like a Milky Way.
I don't. Give me a second. Is that the one that Milky Way?
I like a Snickers. I don't like a Milky Way.
Is this what is the equivalent of a Mars? Yeah, so this is what a Mars bar is in Canada. Drew and I were having this conversation.
Okay.
Mars, for anyone that's Canadian, is or American. It's the nougat and the caramel and the chocolate. I love Mars bars. I don't know how Milky Way tastes. Totally understand not liking Kit Kat. Kit Kat Chunkies were that for me, I guess. Like, that's just too much cookie stuff in the middle.
I'm trying to think if there's actually a candy bar that I like. Reese's is the bomb. That's the goat. Clearly.
See, I'll be honest, I don't like normal Reese's peanut butter cups anymore.
Oh, I love them. Absolutely.
Because
love
I
them.
just feel like they don't stay consistent enough from bar to bar or package to package or wherever. I like the mega, like the king size cups with the Reese's Pieces inside.
Oh no, I don't. Those ain't my jam.
Well, the candy coating of Reese's Pieces make it crunchy, but it also is the perfect amount of like consistency across the board.
I give you the most underrated candy bar for me. The one that I love and I don't ever think about except for when my wife brings me one is a whatchamacallit.
I don't think we have those in Canada.
Oh, they're so good. So good. I love those. I love Reese's. Snickers I'll eat. It's not something I sneak, go after, but I'll eat one. I like Kit Kats. I like M&Ms. Crunchy. I'm sorry, plain and peanut. I don't care for the pretzel ones.
I don't even think we have the pretzel ones in Canada anymore.
I mean, I don't think they're great. I'm trying to think of the other ones that they make of those. Peanut butter. I don't care for the peanut butter ones, which is funny because I love
peanut butter
peanut
ones
butter.
are weird.
Yeah, there's just something about them that didn't taste right.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm just trying to think of flavors of chips because that's usually where I'm more at.
I'll eat
Um,
about any chip, truthfully. I don't think there's a chip that. I mean, salt and vinegar is probably my least favorite, but I still eat it. I'll eat green onion, sour cream and onion, cheddar cheese and onion. Like any brand of Doritos, I'll eat. Funyuns, Cheetos.
oh my god.
I mean, you get
That's a lot
fatter
of-
the more you say.
I'm even more picky than
Yeah.
that.
Like chips don't bother me. Like chip is a chip.
So Canadian Smarties, which are not the same as American Smarties because ours are a chocolate confectionery candy.
Yeah, there ain't no chocolate
Rather-
in the Smarties down here.
Yeah, those are the rest of the world calls those rockets, and for some reason America called it Smarties, so they don't get the other Smarties. I would it is the reverse where I used to think I was like I don't really like these, but I kind of like Smarties now. But now, of course, they're just not as common as I feel they were when I was a kid. Um, I have to look for like Canadian candy bars because fuck if I can think of. Um, oh, here's one, Crispy Crunch.
The hell's a
Do you have
crispy
those?
crunch? I've never heard of this.
Okay, so it's a Cadbury chocolate bar. Let's see. I have to figure out what's inside it because I can't remember. I think it's toffee. God damn it. Sorry, this is not the website. Anyway, it's a Cadbury chocolate bar. I don't know if crispy peanut butter flake inside of it.
Crispy crunch. I'm looking at it now. Hard
Yeah.
chocolate bar with a crispy peanut butter flake. And it looks like a Butterfinger.
It's similar to a Butterfinger, but a Butterfinger I think is a better chocolate bar.
The
I
problem
haven't
I
had
have
many
with
Butterfingers, but like
The problem I have with Butterfinger is what the problem you have with Reese's is Butterfingers are inconsistent as all hell. Like when
so
they're
Crispy
soft,
Crunch.
like Butterfingers are delicious. When they're hard, like hard to the point where they're hard to bite, they're not any good. And the problem is
so
you
this
never
is,
know.
So then I've just been lucky with my Butterfingers because Crispy Crunch, man, I do not want to be picking shit out of my teeth for the next 40 minutes.
You'll do that with a Butterfinger regardless.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then it's the same issue. I fucking loved Crispy Crunch at one point in time, but then the more like at one point I just went, I'm done with these. These are awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at other stuff that we have up here.
I mean, literally, the Amazon description says if you like Butterfinger, you'll love Crispy
Oh,
Crunch.
fucking there you go. Yeah, those are ones that I used to love those. O. Henry, chocolate O. Henry. Or
Yeah,
not
I know
chocolate
what
O.
an O. Henry bar is.
Peanut butter O. Henry. I loved those at one point in time. Now I'm like just regular O. Henry, thank you. And peanut butter Kit Kats.
I like peanut butter Twix.
Peanut butter Twix.
Peanut butter
I've never had
Twix
those.
are the bomb, man. Those are so good.
No.
But you can't find them anywhere.
Peanut butter Kit Kat were like the chunky Kit Kats, but instead of another layer of crushed up Kit Kat bars that didn't make the process or whatever, it was like a layer of peanut butter, and I love them. Like my parents bought me a box of them once. Like I love them when they had like a green packaging on them. And then they brought them back, and I was having them again, and I had like a couple, and I'm like, I don't think I like these anymore. Now, it could have changed recipe. That's totally possible. But I have not had one since that, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm done with this.
Oh, well, there you go. All right, that's all the tweets that I have. That's all the emails that I have, and that's all that I have for this week. It is it's an exciting week, the Xbox 20th anniversary.
Hopefully.
So hopefully we get some cool news.
Yeah.
If you want to follow us on Twitter, the site, the podcast is at N4G Podcast. The site is at ZTGD Content. You can follow me at ZTGD and Anthony at Complacent Robot. Check out Phoenix Down. They're working their way through Yakuza 3 right now. So go give that a listen. I'm excited for them to get to Death Stranding. I really am.
Me too. Oh man, Death Stranding's such a good game.
It's so crazy to say that out loud, but yeah. Oh, that was the other 20th anniversary this week, was Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yes, and to celebrate, Konami took them down.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. off
To
the
be
stores.
fair, that's one of those ones where I'm like, I get it. Like, I'm pretty sure they would rather make money, but like they have to take it down because they haven't reached an agreement for the footage.
Yeah, a lot of people are out there like, this will never happen. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I'm like, as much as it sucks, it's a little bit different than, taking down a product to put up an inferior version.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows my stance, it's like a very different scenario.
Oh, 100%. I get the people, like, I still get sick of, I hate those people that are like, this is about physical rules. I'm like, oh, god damn it. This is cool. You have the disc. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, this is why physical rules, and then you look up a copy of, like, anything right now, and it's super high and not worth the...
$100 for a copy of Splatterhouse? Anybody?
Yeah, let's see here. Metal Gear...
I have all those discs, by the way. They're sitting in a box.
So do I. I have the box set that is the PS2 box set, and it's got like a DVD case for Metal Gear Solid 1. So what they do is, I think in the manual they will outright tell you Meryl's codec, but on the back of the box entirely is that picture for Metal Gear Solid 1. It's really jarring because the other two are like action shots. Oh, good news. So it's only not $10 for a full copy of Metal Gear Solid 2. Don't worry, everybody.
I don't understand the point in that. That's no different than any other shit out there. It's like, oh yeah, this is why this is better. Like, that does not solve the problem. That does not help with the issue. Like, you out here toting physical, people out there like, this is why physical is better. How much is a copy of Chrono Trigger in the box?
Hold on, I will give you that.
But I can play it, right?
Hold on, let me see. Complete, holy shit.
Yeah.
Complete in box is $811.
Physical rules.
And even if you're like, well, okay, I'll get the DS version then, $100, bud, or $67 for just the cartridge.
My point to all of this is, there's something shitty about everything. So don't champion your way over another way. It does not matter. It does not help the situation. Yes, it sucks when a game is removed digitally, but it is not the end of the world. So calm down, Chicken Little, and fuck off.
Also, funny that they say physical rules. Yeah, ask the people that bought the Doom collection for Switch from Limited Run about that.
Ask people who have PlayStation 2s that can't read blue discs.
Yeah.
Physical rules. Anyway, that's it for the show this week.
Never be able to play the thing again!
That game's pretty good, by the way.
Yeah, it's alright. It's
The
alright.
PS2 version is
speaking
good.
of games that to review, you shouldn't just play the first level.
Well, yeah, I know.
Because that game definitely degrades in quality the further you go in.
Sure, but have you ever played the Xbox version? Oh boy, that's a train wreck.
Oh no, I didn't even know there was an Xbox.
Yeah, there's an Xbox version, and for some reason that version is just a train wreck, and I don't understand how that happened, but whatever. Anyway, that's it for this week. Tune in next week for more video games. We're getting close to that big Game of the Year episode, so that should be fun. And then, I don't know. Maybe we'll do some backlog, play some video games. They're fun. That's it for us. We're out of here. Peace.
Alrighty. And it goes something like this.
Epic fail. Welcome to the N4G podcast.
It's me, Mario.
This is going to be a very interesting episode.
Gather time.
Greetings, programs. I got lost trying to find my way to the secret underground N4G Radio lair.
The Wombat. And
I always live being angry.
Killer Wolverine. Play games, not consoles. No fanboys allowed.
And then I killed the dragon. 8.0.
Killed the dragon.